do you guys think about that?
What do you tell us about it?
Do you know about it at all?
Yeah, I've seen about it on the internet. Not recently, but about a year, maybe even 2 years ago, it was really prevalent.
Go on.
Yeah, so I remember seeing there was a particular movie, and it had the genie guy in it. I think it was a black genie guy, and they were showing this is what happened, and now this is what happened. And, you know, it's just like this mind confusion thing from what I saw.
And were you like skeptical, or did it make sense, or did you look into it further?
You know, I saw what I saw about it, and no, I didn't really look into it too much further, to be honest, because I basically focus on my real awareness, and I just see what shows up. And recently, I haven't seen anything about it. But why do you see that it's relevant to bring up now?
Well, it's all about, you know, we talk about spiritual, and if we're ascending into higher consciousness than the mind, right, from a physical. So, are you guys familiar with Rudolf Steiner?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, he's the biodynamic guy.
Yeah, Waldorf schools and everything. Well, he predicted in these times, one, it would be the age of inoculation, and this he predicted back in 1920s, but also that the man's consciousness in the bigger picture of all the ages, he would describe the layers and layers of ages, just like Martin Kenney's bringing up. And what he described was that at this time we would go to what he called the super senses, and that's wisdom, creativity, intellectualism, inspiration, and imagination. And the higher consciousness mind would be taking over the physical realm, as spiritual beings are known to do in the evolution stage from the dark ages of just 500 years ago. And we're the first ones waking up to that, as the Mayan prophecy allowed this consciousness to be both sides of the brain in the center for us to download and also understand at capacities humanity has never experienced before. I mean, in the realm of things, everything is just huge. And you can't, but it's exciting, you guys. I mean, it's just like, so glad I'm here, and we'll see how it goes from here. But I don't know, just the awakening is just wonderful. And then the Flat Earth, I got the opportunity to go to the second ever Flat Earth conference in Denver, and it was such a beautiful event in that everybody there felt like family, because we all went through the darkness. We all came out and discovered this truth, whatever it may be. And it's just like a big awakening. And Flat Earth was the big one. And so I had my Flat Earth book, and I met people I never knew had my book and stuff. They were asking me for autographs. They're asking me for pictures. I'm like, I just put it out there. I just tapped away. I never hear from anybody. It was just like, but everybody I talked to was just like, it was such an elevated conversation of awakening. And we're all going to celebrate. We, you, me, and everybody else at the end of this pipe are all awakening at our own event horizon. Claim it and own it. But, you know, find love in your heart no matter what, because that's the frequency that takes over any energy they got. And that's the message over and over again, is find a way to show love. Hate can't cure hate. Hate can't fix hate. Only love can cure hate. Only love can fix hate. So you have to start the love process, even though people are throwing bombs at you, even though people hate you. My brother got me 1 year for Christmas. He got me a aluminum foil box to make tinfoil hats with.
At least he got you.
So yeah, there you go. Well, I didn't even go anywhere this year, but that's okay, because it's, like I said, it's an inward journey, and so I don't judge anybody anymore, because I've been wherever they're at. But the people like yourselves and people that are listening, I honor you guys too, and you're not alone in the spirit of things, and that we're the seed. The way I'm looking at it now is, no matter what happens from here, we're the seeds of something much greater through the tree of life and good and evil and knowledge of everything that's ever been is right in front of us. And we're the seeds of everything that's going to grow from there. And it's going to be really beautiful and positive, but we're not going to eat the fruit. I mean, it's dirty dishes time. It's just like they've been partying and the dishes are so high over a grand scale, and we're the first dishwashers coming in. I call myself the agitator because the agitator is the center spindle in the washing machine that gets the dirt out. Ta-da! And that follows the Hayoki tradition, ancient Indians, who a guy in a tribe would play a role. And if everybody was too cocky, he'd just be an asshole and say, hey, you got to grow food, you got to pay attention to your children, and everybody hate him. And then when times were tough, it was cold, there wasn't enough food, it was too cold all the time, he'd get out there naked and pretend he's bathing in the sun, and life isn't so bad after all, and everybody'd laugh and have a good time, and he'd be the jokester. He'd play whatever role was necessary. So I think everybody's got to find their role in the awakening, the Great Awakening, celebrate we're at the beginning of the Great Awakening, and then put aside your differences. Put aside what you don't like about somebody. If they're on the awakening path, they're going to find their way. Just give them some information. Give them my books. I've got a geoengineering book, a PDF for free, and Flat Earth book is for free. And make it, this is from years and years of getting beat up, folks. This is my advice. When you put it out, give it because you want to give it, and give it because it's the right reason to give it to the person you're giving it to. And if it's just a PDF, I'll email it to you, or here's a book, or, here's something I found, or just give it to somebody and then walk away of the response. Because the information you're giving them is for them to look at, not for them to judge whether or not you are right or wrong, and whether you are validated because you know more than they do now and you're trying to help them. That's the clutch. To get around that, give them something and don't own the outcome, and they'll see it later. Somebody else will talk about it, it'll still be in their computer, they'll have the book, and they'll look at it 4 months later, 6 months later. That's what I've seen the experience now. But speaking out now, you're early, you're breaking the wind, and it's always the one that gets all the splat bugs in the windshield. You're front up the grill. But here we honor each other because we're doing this wonderful work. It's very spiritual, and then we have this beautiful place, Eden, at the center of all this, where the North Pole is, where the shenanigans go on in the North Pole, where they don't have any snow. Antarctica's got 10,000 feet, and the Arctic now is like almost ice-free, they say. Well, no, it's protected. You can't get through there. So Martin Kenney's got this North Seal project. He wants 2020 to go out to the center of the North Pole, because 2020, guys, spiritually, physically, and get ready mentally, all things are going to change. Because all things are lining up that. The real ID's coming. The whole system of remember they're having a fake comet over China in 2020. There's many things astrology-wise. Jupiter is in conjunction with Saturn the first time in 6,000 years, right on top of December 21st, 2020. And then there's a summer solstice. So those are big. Billionaires use astrology. Billionaires do not. And they do. They plan 9/11 around certain dates. Everything's about energy of the cosmos. Just like biodynamics, Rudolf Steiner is energy of the cosmos. When I started learning biodynamic farming and using his principles, the flowers would open on a flower day. The roots that I did, the onions, the potatoes that I stored in my storage would last 40-50% longer if I harvested them and worked with them on root days that agreed with the cosmic charts in the sky. There was a system you could go day by day. This is a root day, this is a flower day, this is a fruit day. And so you'd work on those plants and those energies. And I saw it work. So it's us learning, and that's what lasers is about too. Lasers is about making us understand directed energy, what directed energy is. Energy and frequency and vibration. And then when we learn we're light beings and we start making that connection, well, now we've got power. Now we start to see what others before us had done in the ancients, and we start intuitively knowing. Well, how do you know? Like everybody asks me, well, how do you know? And the new answer is just going to be, I just know. It's not for me to, it's like Buddhists. They don't care if you get it or not. You will. I love that. Try it on. See if it fits. It's just don't own the outcome of what they're going through because they're on their path. Whether it be a loved one or someone you just meet, but find commonality that all of us need air to breathe. We need food to eat, and we need love. I mean, we need each other. We can't be alone. So honor that we need each other, and then find a need. There's many things you can do in your little way, but nourishing your body, nourishing your family, and water. That's the other thing about water is make sure you get it filtered if you can, anywhere you can. A Berkey water filter. I know it might be a lot of money, like $100 or something, but to filter your water out of the fluoride is mind numbing. as well. And it's a lot of work to clean up your system. But start somewhere, use what you got, do something, and then connect with others. And the other thing, I'll just wrap up here, is like I recommend and we're trying to get people to do is, even though it's the Evil Empire Facebook, get on there in your area and say, Truther Awakening Meetup, so-and-so Bar and Grill, this date. And then I'll announce it on my channel, which has 200,000 subs or something like that. And I'm sure we can get some people around your area to meet up with you guys. Just let me know where or when, and let's start, talking to others in the community so you know you're not alone and you know who you can trust. I mean, we just had yesterday, did you guys see that New York City, what happened there? The blue light, the whole big, huge transformer place blew up. Oh, so they say.
First, your presentation is fabulous. Lots of information, and you are so brave to stand up and speak up and tell the real story, the backstory of what's going on the planet. But I have a question. The question is, you have stated many times that you look behind everything and question things. You don't just accept it as real. If this is so, how do you handle the question if your God, and I mean God since we started using the term God, was created by an extraterrestrial and has lied to us exclusively in the different religions on the planet? How do you handle that thought?
Okay, give me a one-liner question.
Okay.
That was a lot. I don't know there's a bunch of things I could respond to, but what do you want to know? Or what do you want to ask?
How do you handle the thought that everything that you believe in personally is a lie? Are you open enough?
Everything's a big word. I mean, it's a word game about everything. It's not a knowing, it's an unknowing. And if my personal is I'm a spiritual being, not a religious being, and I've founded the Modern Skeptic Society. I have a flat Earth forum that I never look at. But the modern skeptics, the old skeptics, they would lead a life of inquiry and investigation because they took the position they knew nothing. They started with a tabula rasa and started over. And they learned from everybody and anybody they could, and they always were ability to change their mind with a moment's new thought, a new awakening, a new truth. So with me, it's not a belief system. Belief is BELIEF. When you say blessed, it means be less, BLESS. They play word games. They cast spells in schools of fish. They play games with words. Words are swords. I mean, it's all gematria. It's all sacred energy, and it all has power. It's like 9/11 on the back of the dollar bills that do the whole 9/11. You can do the whole folding of the 5, the 10, the 20, and the 50 and see the whole 9/11 story folding them like little airplanes. I mean, folks, let's get serious about what we're talking about here. We're talking about a divine entity that has dark demonic power, and so we have to find our own spiritual values. And I honor anybody from the side of the fishbowl. They're coming to the same cosmic truths, and that we all need each other. No matter what our belief systems are, it's all that we have to come together in unity now. Unity through diversity, because we're under common attack in many different levels, and the awakening is just beginning, and everybody's been professionally programmed for generations of mind control with the highest and the biggest technologies since the 1910s and the 1920s. And we know that because the number of corporations started, the NGOs, the nonprofits that started in 1900 was 20. And by 1922, when they started shielding all their money, this was all the railroad, Rockefellers, the oil, Henry Ford, they're making so much freaking money that they started the nonprofit organizations. They had like 2,200 of them. And they did the Smithsonian Institute, and they founded the Columbia colleges to teach Western medicine and all that through their nonprofits, just like they do the school systems even today. Those guys had 30% more wealth than Buffett, Gates, and Allen have today. We're still under their control, but not any longer once you wake up. But technology is the beast. I mean, you can't walk away. None of us can from technology, and that's only started since 2005. So, to get rid of technology and go back to the garden, I mean, that seems to be the answer of a long-term solution. But also just going inward and finding your own spiritual value about being in such an incredible moment of time. We must be, our souls, all of our souls came here to do battle right now. You call it what you want, but we all came here together to do it. So let's celebrate all of us fighting the common enemy, which is, evil personified. I mean, this is full disclosure now, folks, with the lasers they're doing in Santa Rosa. I've been up in Paradise. I've seen the holes. Just confirmation after confirmation, but there's no one to talk to. No one's batting down my door saying, "Sir, you've been up there and published 50 now articles about the Paradise fires. We'd like to talk to you." It hasn't happened. Why?
Yes. Yes.
It's all been mind control. It's all through professional screens, and everybody learns the same information, and people can't take too much because it's too much. It's just like it's such a bummer or whatever. But it doesn't mean it's not an awakening to at least look at it, and that means your mind comes open and you say, well, this is a possibility and this is a possibility. And so a faith doesn't exist anymore. It's more of an inquiry and investigation, and that's what my books are titled, Investigations into Theocosmogony. What about God Cosmos? Let's talk about that. I mean, I'll talk about that all day long. But the Earth God, I'm not interested in the storyline other than what the teachings are about. And so it's, I don't know, maybe I went on too bad, but namaste.
No, it was fabulous. Everything that you said was right on. It's just that if you look at the entire solar system that we're in as a program from a computer, including us humans, smart monkeys, then there must be a higher up programmer. And in your
well, just stop. You tie that in with what Henry was talking about, the lizards, the reptilians, the David Icke, what I call the David Icks, who started the introduction of the whole reptilian, and many people I know before were into that. But Martin Kenney talks about what you're talking about. I mean, extraterrestrial, again, word games. Extraterrestrial. Think about it. Terrestrial means what? Land. Extra land. Just like unidentified flying object. If you identify it, is it still a UFO? We don't discern, just like sunrise, sunset, flat Earth. You said solar system. I was going to say something. It says, whose system? We're the center of the greatest creation of all of history of mankind. That's my position. You call it a solar system. I say, well, prove it. But that's our language, global, world. Everything's been manufactured into our heads. And to unlearn is an art form, and then to re-emptying everything and finding the time to do it. And then we have to change our language. And even the word language, and definition is from the Phoenician, Phoenician. It's of the oral. That's why we have to go to court and have a hearing. It's all oral. Testify, as we talked about. So everything's connected, and legal systems own us, but you have to declare the author, wherever you are, be the author of your own authority. Who is the author of your own authority? Some system? Well, yes. Well, how do you get off it? That's your game. Wherever you got to do. But until you're taking your own self-sufficient, self-reliant, community-building path, we're not going to evolve as a culture and do regenerational existence. That's the G inside the Freemasonry. One of the G's is regeneration. So we got to start talking about being here for a while. And that's when I get into the spiritual side and I say, I'm not going anywhere. You guys take this life, take this body. It's been a ride, but I'm not going anywhere if that's where I'm choosing. I may go and do somewhere else, but I'm getting real curious physically now about what's up in the Arctic in 2020. And we should maybe talk later and see if I don't know. It's just exciting times, guys. Really exciting.
Agreed, and you have done an excellent job calling out the and people are entertaining in their thoughts, and because you have the the courage to stand up and say it now, especially now, this time on the planet, requires a certain amount of love for our creation. The one thing I do find is that in looking to the evidence that is present in our lives now, you can see some of the misconstrued thoughts and truth, whatever you want to call it, that's presented to us. And all I'm asking is that if you're pretty well convinced that what you're reading in the book called the Bible, that it is true to you, and if it isn't, what is your viewpoint or stance if it isn't?
Well, it's a cog in the wheel. I mean, it's a very important cog, but it's still. And when you say the Bible, I mean, it's like I grew up in a Christian, born again. I'm steeped in this stuff, and I just questioned the validity when just the narrative. I go by what the story means to me. That's what's important to me, and I've studied it. I know about it. I ask people all the time, and I'll ask you, ma'am, what was the very first thing and the very last thing Jesus did on his ministry when he started at 30 years old and died 3 years later at that number, 33? What Jesus do? First and last act.
During those 3 years, he gave as much information out as he possibly could.
No. I'm talking about the first act and last act. His first initial, you're breaking through. The egg breaking out creates life. The egg breaking in destroys life. He's breaking through, and his first act in his ministry, after going all around the world, yes, he was a carpenter, but he also went and gained all the knowledge of the world. And so he came back, and what did he do? He went and threw over the banker's tables. What? Oh, yeah. And what did he do before he was crucified? Why was he crucified? Because he did it again. And the first act of compassion was Longinus, the Roman soldier that was blind because he had to stay in the back of the Roman soldiers, and he was guarding Jesus on the cross. And the other two guys on the cross were getting battered with sticks and clubs, and they were dying a real painful death. And so he stabbed them so he wouldn't suffer. And it spilled Christ's blood on him along into the earth. The story is much greater than just the Bible. And then how did these guys download, Luke and Mark and all these guys' Gospels, when the first one started downloading all the Jesus Christ episodes at 80 years old was the first start? How'd they get their information if there was no historians that ever chronicled that Jesus Christ existed during his time? But we have Herodotus 3,000 earlier and all the historians up to them. You know, and so we got to ask questions. And how about all the other 20 Bibles and the Ethiopian Bible and the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Nag Hammadi? Why do we limit ourselves to, the Bible? I'm sorry. It's just we got to expand our knowledge about what spiritualism really is about. It's about a much bigger story of all religions, of all thoughts, not just something says or I interpret a very complicated story this way. I would rather have you tell me your story about what resonates with you, because that's a great story. It's all allegories for how we should behave and act. But I go back to, where are the Christians throwing over the banker's table? Excuse me, I'll wait. The church is owned by the IRS system. They can't talk into the churches because they get tax-free, and if they get into trouble, they have to pay taxes. They're done. It's a money-making corporation, too. It's a profitable center, and nobody talks about that either. They're putting cell phone towers in churches now. Nobody talks about that. You know, they got mega churches. These guys making extreme amounts of money, huge volumes on TV money. Nobody talks about that. There's no activism like at Baylor University, Christian University, where they have football teams raping girls as part of their initial rites. And my little niece goes, "That's terrifying," and nothing gets done. I mean, come on, folks. You can clean up your own house too. Doesn't matter what my belief is. I mean, I just think that instead of pointing fingers, let's talk about what we're doing. You know, I went down to Hurricane Harvey, and I was the only one that interviewed anybody. And I tried to get the church down there for my nieces and nephews in Waco to come down. I couldn't get anybody to go with me. And this was 3 weeks after the event. And I recorded the whole event and put it out on my YouTube channel so people could know what horrific event happened when it wasn't just a hurricane at all. and I interviewed 50 people. So that's my spiritual work. I mean, that's what I'm doing in my heart. I was also very sore because I keep getting hit with frequencies as part of the targeting that happens when you start speaking out. There's things that happen, including the big thing. So you live with that, but you still speak out because when in life have we had a megaphone like this, right?
Yes, it is very interesting your perspective that you look at or speak from. I happen to live in Texas, and Harvey went right over us, those little towns. And
I'm sorry.
It's okay. The most interesting part of that experience was that I went outside and told the storm to leave my area. And I should have said the entire state, but it did not run over my house. It was still intact afterwards. And we were on the south side.
You're north of Houston?
Yes, I'm in Corpus Christi, Texas.
Oh, okay. I know where you are. All right. So, I mean, before that, the hurricanes before that came in, they had everybody bug out at the same time. There was all the traffic jams and stuff, right?
Yes.
The one before? All right.
Oh, yeah.
So that's when they gave you, right? And everybody in the southern belt down there understands hurricanes. It's not like I'm in Lake Tahoe. I understand snow. You guys understand hurricanes. And I went to the 3 different districts in 3 different areas above Houston, including Port Arthur, and I interviewed 50 people. And not one of them called it a hurricane because the day before they downgraded it from a Category 4 to a tropical, so nobody left. But that wasn't the hard part about it. The hard part was when they opened the dams. After they had already, the waters receded from the flooding, and then they opened the dams, and people got flooded out to the Gulf of Mexico through Port Arthur and over above Houston. And bodies were in there, too, with bullet holes in them. I mean, that's the story I told from Cajun patrol guys that went there on their boats that said that they're the guys that went to, and they're the we, us, me, and you, and these brave souls, they're the only ones that are giving enough crap about this genocide going on to help. And they're the ones that came and rescued the people that were sitting on the roofs when daylight came. No federal government, no state government, no, you know that, right? No one's coming to help you guys anymore. Wake up. Wake up.
My son lives in Seabrook, Texas, and his girlfriend's grandparents live about 20 miles away, and he found a boat, and he got over to them and rescued them, elderly couple and their dogs, from the flooding. But we know what to do. If you live here long enough, you know what to do. And you have to say to yourself, and you have to be smart enough to know. I didn't leave Corpus because I'm on the south side. My son is on the north side of that storm. If you know that, you can make an educated guess as to what the best idea to do is. But going back to your position of opening the mind, that's it. That's the one. You say you open your mind and you make space for other information that's not given to you from government source or other religious source or whatever. You ferret out the information yourself. That means you do the work. That's why you have to come up with information that is helpful to others that may open their minds. It's a catch-22 situation in a sense, but it's still viable. It still presents an opportunity for people to look out and see a different viewpoint. And that's all I meant. No disrespect in any way. But
I appreciate you saying. No, you're exactly. I appreciate that. Thank you very much for saying that too. Because it's not fun. It's not my pleasure dome to be doing this, but it needs to be done. That's always been my thing. Well, it needs to be done. So, and I've been able to see. I was in Wall Street for 25 years. I learned about trends. I learned how financial markets work, from bonds all the way through, to how economics worked. And then I started learning after 9/11 about the dark side. And all at the same time, food price, energy prices were going $147 a barrel, and I'm looking at 40% of food is oil related. I'm saying, holy crap, I got to get a farm. And then when the debt got up to like $1 trillion, my Wall Street stuff took over. I said, everybody's borrowing money. This is prime debt. They're doing it again. 2007. I said, I'm getting out. Robocops, people were getting $500,000 loans in California for having a blood type. It's just crazy money. And I was always like, my grandfather would pound on my chest, never borrow more money than you have in your bank account. You promised me that, because he went through the Great Depression, and I learned how to save. And it's just we don't learn how to save anymore. Kids, it's all electronic, and now they're crashing the dollar. You know why they hit Houston? One of the many reasons they steered Hurricane Harvey from a Cat 4 and they did the damage surgically where they wanted to and how they wanted to?
Yes.
You know why?
Say again? Do I know why?
You know why they picked that area, among other reasons, because it's the largest oil refineries in the United States. So what's the insurance on it? Right, and what are we turning to now? Battery cars. In California, we got 5 mega dams being built from Fresno all the way up to Lake County. And their water is the new currency. And then Trump is saying gold now. He's getting rid of the Federal Reserve, you watch, and switching over to currency, maybe Bitcoin, and then it's all electronic. It's all on the machine in your hand. That's the beast. You want to talk about the mark of the beast? It's in everybody's pocket now. That's the technology that owns everybody. And it's something that we don't talk about because everybody's hooked in. But I still remember the beginning of the Internet when I was in Wall Street. It was 1994-95. Arpanet, the DARPA angle, brought the Internet in 1995, and then everybody drank. And then it was 2003, the smartphone started. In 2005-06, the rollout of everything started. And now it's connected to all. Now we got the 5G beast. Now we got Skynet and all the ionosphere and geoengineering crap. And it's all based on electromagnetic frequency ownership. But we're more powerful than any of these technologies. But you must get away from your smart meters. You must put tin foil, whatever. We're making covers now. That thing can hear 50 feet into your house. It can hear all your conversations and records them. Everybody's got a smart meter. But then again, I'm talking and I go, well, people have Alexa. They'll go, well, I got Alexa. It listens to me everything anyway, right? I got nothing to hide. That's the stupidity but get the smart meters away, because they are also at your frequency of your organs of your body. It's really evil. When evil's on high, things we can't imagine how ugly and bad it could be. But the boiling frog syndrome of electromagnetic technology, touchless torture we call it, target humanity. I did a 3-hour series on that. All the different technologies. It's frequency control and modulation. And again, back to our spirit beings, we're not going anywhere. And if we take that attitude, they can't own our souls. And I'll get to close it here, I guess, on the book I would highly recommend everybody. My greatest understanding of why we're here, what we're doing, in a very spiritual sense, is a book that was written finished by his son, but it was Chief of Admiral of Naval Intelligence for the Canadian Army or Navy. He was head of Naval Intelligence. He also worked in the Royal Army, the British Navy, as well, intelligence there. And he got injured, and in his bed in Montreal, someone left the King James Bible, and he read it. And the prophecies of the Bible, he matched with what he had learned from intelligence, what was going on in the inside. And he wrote a book about it. It's all about the Luciferian Creed. It's all about the plans for the Goyim, and about how they're just going to keep a certain percentage of males for sperm and a certain percentage of females. And it says it. And he wrote, it was finished in 1960. And it's called Satan, Prince of This World. Satan, Prince of This World. And you can get it on PDF, folks. And that is my best understanding.
Hello? Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Yeah, can I ask a quick question? My name's Robert, and I have a quick question for you. Are you familiar that the human body has actually 5 bodies? Every person has 5 bodies.
What kind of bodies?
Well, you have a physical body, you have an astral body, you have a causal body, a mental body, and an etheric body. And
you forgot one. You forgot one. You know what the next one is after that?
Okay, did I say 5 or did I miss one?
No, I'm adding one. It's a nobody. Sorry.
Well, that may be true too. Well, anyway, here's food for thought for you. I mean, I've only listened to you for about the last 45 minutes when I got home, but you know, you have a tremendous amount of information, and I think that's wonderful. It's a great step in the right direction. But I do have a thought for you to think about. And that is, you know, when we search for the truth, you know, I mean, if we're trying to find out where the real God is, not the reptilian gods, not the Callum gods, but if we're trying to find the real truth, and you want to find that, did you know that if you can discuss or reason or contemplate on the truth with any of those 5 bodies, you're not there. You haven't found the truth.
Well, do you know your truth, sir?
I'm getting more and more every day. But the one thing I learned.
Yeah, I mean it's on. Well, but that's exactly right. We're on a growth spurt, right?
Right,
like
and you're on.
I know a lot more today than I did yesterday, right?
Exactly. But and I think you're on the right track. But this is just food for thought for you. Is if you can talk about it, discuss it, argue it, make a point, make your Bible observations and reptilian observations and all that. If you can argue the point, or you can think it, or you can mentalize it, then that's all great, but it's not getting to the bottom of the truth. It doesn't get you anywhere.
Well, I mean, but
just food for thought. It's just food for thought.
No. I hear you, and here's some dessert for you. Is when you spoke about the different dimensions you were speaking to, and I've come to understand with the ancients, there's 9 dimensions of our beings and existence that can operate at the same time. Just like thought is one dimension, right? Physical is another dimension. Spiritual is another dimension. And there's other dimensional realms like this, the way astrotheology works as well. It's a much bigger conversation. And then you get into the flat earth conversations, and now you're talking even bigger realms of conversation of beauty and elegance, of a creation of vast, incredible sophistication of we're just learning. So, sir, I'm humbled at the Creator. I'm eating humble pie every day, and I'm trying to be a servant to the spiritual and love and kindness awakening that's coming out in all. And the greatest awakening is this flat Earth, where our light's got to shine. So namaste in Tibet means the light in you is the light in me. And so whatever your truth is, according to you, is more important to me than you asking someone else to find their truth. Because it's a big.
I'm
working on this for a long time.
Right. We're all searching for the truth.
I'm just
trying to throw this out, and those 5 bodies that I'm talking about. The 5 bodies are in creation. And in order to understand, to get to true meaning, you have to exit creation.
How many creations are there?
How many?
Yeah.
There's only one cause and effect creation.
Besides recreation, how many creations are there?
There's only one cause effect.
How many cosmic eggs have been created over the time of God's creation in the big picture? How many cosmic eggs? How many creations and destruction? Breaking an egg from the outside destroys life. Creating an egg from the inside out creates life. That's what we're doing now with raising consciousness. But the layers on layers is unknown. We're only using 10 to 15% of our brains. So how do we say we know anything, sir? How can you tell me my truth is your truth? Are you judging me?
I'm not saying your truth is my truth or vice versa. What are you saying about? What do you say? Your truth is with food, so I want to understand. Let me rephrase what I'm saying. The more you can argue the point the more you stay in cause and effect creation.
Whose creation we're talking about again? It's vast layer on
layer.
layer.
Okay,
you can talk spiritually, mentally, physically about a creation.
Okay, well, all right. Well, I've made my comment. Go ahead. So I'll step back and let you guys continue on. I just wanted to make that one comment. Okay.
No, I appreciate it. It's good to talk. It's good to talk about it.
Yeah. So if I can try and give like a view of what Robert here, as a friend of ours, is trying to say is, that all of the different, like, creation is, what it is, all these different realms and dimensions, but outside of creation, there are real universes that you can perceive with your real awareness, which created your 5 bodies here in creation that are here now while we're here in creation. So, it's it's a lot because you haven't, seen, or you're not seeing from Robert's view because you haven't, learn like what Robert and what we've been learning with the real universal guides who I referenced earlier. But we have another call here.
I'm not familiar with that, but I have about 300, 400 books spirituality. I did heal myself through yoga. I did go to Tibet. I mean, I've gone through a lot of spiritual paths and journeys, and the universe is just one uni of a verse. There's much more creations, and so I want to be specific. If we're talking about spiritual work, we've got to use the proper words, right speech, right livelihood, right consciousness. So when you talk about, even God, it's just so open to less deeper conversation. You know what I'm talking about? And I don't have those over the airwaves with people. That's something I don't share with whoever's listening here. It's not any of their business, as my grandfather used to say. So, that's where I'm at in all, But I do it through my work. You can judge me who I am by my work that I do. That's how I'm trying to live my life. And if that works for somebody, it's food for them, great. If it's not, that's fine too. I don't own that because I'm just doing what I'm doing. I'm trying to do it the best I can. And you should be doing, and everybody is trying to do the best they can, and let's celebrate it, Let's make our buns dance by creating abundance, And we get to rewrite words, we get to rethink thoughts, we get to rebuild communities, we get to take this compost and be the seeds of every flower in God's kingdom that can exist is going to come from what we see today. It's procreation, recreation.
It's a lot
generation.
It's a lot of fun what you're sharing, and I've been listening the whole call, and there's quite a few things I wanted to share just from listening to you. So you've referenced the ancients, as you've called these different peoples, and it's really a benefit to look at what has taken place in history, because actually all of us were there through these different time periods, but we've forgotten. So one way that I suggest anyone listening or watching this later is to pay attention to your dream visions or your dreams, which actually they're real experiences. It's the real side of your life and what's taking place, and it is something that you have to look at every day and take the time to figure out. And it might not come to you immediately what you're seeing, but it's very important to just pay attention to your dreams, because you will be shown so much of these other dimensions, other levels, and how to access these other levels, and actually real universes. So beyond even the mental realm.
Can you give me an example of your personal experience about what you're talking about?
Okay, so actually there's a sound. It's called The New You, and I did write my own book.
How did it happen to you? How did it happen to you? What was your experience with this? I want to hear your story.
Okay. So I know we only have a certain amount of time here, so I will answer your question. But for anybody else, or if you want to know more, I did do a 3-hour video, and I wrote a book about my story with this. I was contacted very briefly over 3 years ago by an individual that was a former U.S. Marine Sergeant. His name's Chris Courage. And he let me know about the real universal guides, Rebizar, Yabul Sakabi, and these different guides, and actually Gopal Das. So you mentioned the Egyptians and the Egyptian pyramids. Gopal Das was there during that time, and he's a dream guide now that can show you or anyone that's willing to see even more in your own dreams. But Chris contacted me, and he told me about these guides and this individual, Dwayne the Great Writer, and the New You, New Sound. And he let me know that it replaced all other chants and words, like it replaced Om, Amen, Hare Krishna, and all these different words, and that they were actually old and outdated and didn't work anymore. And so I tested this New You, New Sound, and I started to have my own real experiences. So I saw other Earths. I saw my personal life situations. I saw what was taking place on the planet. So I saw the chemtrails. I saw the vaccines. And I met with the real universal guides as well. In real universes of all pure light, they began to bring me gifts and show me different things. So that's kind of like a brief, description. And so we've just been. Go ahead.
Can you astral travel on future, like what's going to happen next on this world in the physical plane? Can you see like what you see going forward the next few years? Can you look that way? Can you do that too?
Yeah, well, anybody can do that. It's actually really simple. And
no, but can you do that? I mean, can you see what's going on coming up? Because some people can do that. Like I've met them when I was in Wall Street. There's people you would hire that they could see stuff, and they apply it.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
still in the astral plane. It's still in that same frequency range of the astral plane. So I was just asking if that was something you do.
No, yes, I could do that, but you have to understand is that when you're talking about future events, they're all based on free will. So it's the choices that people make every moment. So prophecy, it just depends on everyone's free will. It's not really something set in stone. So you kind of have to go through the process and see what happens. But what I do is something that some of the people here that have listened to our show before, it's called universal positioning. So it's actually beyond astral travel and remote viewing and lucid dreaming. Because, the ancients that you talk about, they were interested in survival, and also they went out of body. But that's what we're doing instead of like the thrills of like lucid dreaming and astral traveling. We're actually focused on survival.
Excuse me, but how, just don't brush them off. How did they build the pyramids? Tell me. I'm waiting. Tell me how they built the pyramids. Respect. Where's the respect? We don't even know how the heck, with all our technology and all our universities, it's a multiverse, guys. It's not just a university. I'm sorry, but there's many layers of the stories. And we've been lied to professionally for so long. Right. So let's all unite not knowing, but open to the truth that this is a spiritual war, sure. And we got statues of Baphomet being parked in Detroit, in Oklahoma, that weigh 1.5 tons. I mean, we got all the symbology in our children's minds about mind control. We got pedophilia problems about children's. It's just gross. The whole story is about who we think's in power. We got to. This is my videos. I got 50 videos, and they're archivable. And all the stuff I brought tonight is all this stuff I've been working on and sharing, because this is what I've learned. And I'm not afraid to look in the dark anymore, because now it's my shadow and I can talk about it. But there is a physical price, but in the spiritual realm, it's the journey of the warrior time, folks. And to be a spiritual warrior is to be Christ-like. And what did he do? He threw over the banker's tables. And so I honor all of those Christians and all of the universe and everybody that's active. Active means to get activated. Generation means the hope that we're going to be here a while. In the physical realm, our spirits can go here and there, yes, but the love of our children, the love of all life, we take care of everybody here. We're all one. We all breathe the same air. We all need food. Let's be real and spiritually real about taking care of each other, no matter what, race, creed, or color. We're all humans. We all, different colors, different generations, but the story of us has just been blown open to a new investigation. And so be free to investigate new truths about what you know. Because I've been doing this hardcore for 15, 17 years, and I don't know anything. I really am just beginning. And so anybody that says they know, I go, really? Okay, go ahead. It's because it's just we're learning about who we are, about new truths we never knew about spiritual truths, mental truths, and then the physical truth is we're under assault by a force that's much more powerful than most of us understand. in everything. So it's a spiritual battle that takes precedent over physical realm, mind over matter. We will win because we're spiritual beings. And whatever way you come to the fishbowl of finding God, the center, the creation of mankind, and that you honor everybody else on their path, however they arrive there, you may not see their path. You might not see the way they get to the same place of the same, what I call cosmic truth. Do unto others, love one another, live an authentic, genuine life. Be true to yourself. No judgment of others. They're on their path. And if they F up, they F up. If I can help them, I'll try and help them. But I'm not going to tell them that are wrong or I'm right. I mean, that's what I find a lot in the religions. And religare means to yoke, to reconnect with. Religion means to reconnect with. Look to connect to people. In all religions, universally, everyone's spiritually, right? We're all going spiritual beings back to where our home is. And that's a much deeper story than we talked about tonight.
Thank you, Jme. There's actually someone, Val, did you want to share something? Did you have a question or an idea?
Yeah.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, thanks. I've been listening. Jme, you're great. You're just passionate. I love it. I think what everybody's trying to say here is that there's, if you take away the love, the peace, the reptilians, everything we've been talking about, which is like creation, if you take all this stuff away, what do you have? And that's what we're pointing to or referencing is the unknown, basically the unknown, and that's what the new you, the sound will connect you to, and it's different than what the masters, the gurus, the spiritual, all the metaphysical, all these paths and religions. You can just put those on the shelf. You don't have to. This is not negating anything, by the way. This is, I think you're getting maybe the feeling we're negating something, but we're not. It's not that at all. It's just that there's something more, and you get this because you're doing all. Times are changing, and really, big time. So this is maybe even more for you to consider, that there's even more than what you're considering, and it's basically in the unknown. We call it the unknown, or the is. It's like nothing that you can consider, believe in, know about, and that's the trick, or the challenge is to find what doesn't exist, basically, like find what doesn't exist, or recognize. We call it recognize what doesn't exist. So it's really, really kind of fun to do this. And like I said, what you're doing is so important. I mean, it's like we're getting so much out of this. It's expanding our knowledge. So you're part of this big time, but there's more. I think we're saying that there's more even than that, and it's in the unknown.
Gotcha. So your name's Val, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Hi. You just put a name to people I'm talking to. I've heard 3-4 people that have gotten on, and I'm not even sure what the show is baselined on. Something universal. I had never even looked into it. Actually, I'm sorry. I just came on to talk about my truth, and I'm sorry if I'm imposing any judgment on anybody else about what their feelings are, thinkings are, certain knowings are. But I prefer my conversations, I wish, with people I speak with, if they tell me their personal stories about them, about what's turned them on, what's got them going, what makes sense to them, so I can learn from you. Instead of, because you have knowledge, share it with me, kind of thing, instead of, you're doing this, you tell me a story. And that's why I asked this other lady, tell me a story. Because that's how we learn about things, is hearing about other people, so we can relate to each other. So if you tell me your personal stories, I get to know you better, and then we can share more, meaningful conversations. But the real deep conversations I don't share with everybody, and that's about my personal, energy, my aura, my natal chart, my destiny, fate. My work is what I'm showing this part of me in a multiverse of my humanity and my spirituality. But it's not. I'm not going to explain it on a, speaking it. If that makes any sense, I don't know. So it's just I'd rather hear your stories, I guess, is what I'm saying with callers. What do you know?
I'll send you my book. I'm writing my book right now, so I'll send it to you when I get to. But we're basically, if you take away, like I say, the days of spiritual paths, religions, gurus, masters, it's over with. If you want to see the evolution of things, if you're talking about that kind of thing, that's gone. So what is left if you take away all that? God, take away God.
Is the physical realm not part of the conversation?
It can be, yeah, it certainly is, because it's survival. It's part of our survival. Yes.
Well, I mean, I'm talking to here and now, and this is why we're not conversing that well in the subject, because you're talking head in the clouds, and I'm talking down here on Earth, what we can learn in humanity, given a physical realm, are spiritual beings. You're talking about a spiritual knowing and truth that's very apparent. You guys all have this knowing that you say is a spiritual value, but mine is connecting to you as a human in your spirit body right now through your this connection we have, and your person to person about who we are as we're all awakening, and that's our knowing too. It's very vast. You can know many different levels of things. That's what I learned in Wall Street. That's what got me Wall Street was I wasn't successful because I was smart. I just listened to smart people talking what they knew, and then I turned that on to when everybody on the internet said, "Oh, I got it from this book," I would order this book and start reading it. And so I got a book collection of like 3,500 books and just downloaded everything I could. And all I'm doing is sharing that value of my work for free, basically, or costing me, but it doesn't matter, so that people might help along their path. I don't own any of the outcome of what anybody gets from this. I'm just trying to share with what I've learned and what I know in a very humble way, because, I appreciate having me on your show. It's just, nobody calls me. I mean, I'm like on my own.
We appreciate your passion and that you're having fun with this. So since you said that you read a lot of books, then actually Jme the Great Writer, which all of us here, well, not all of us, but some of us on the call here that have spoken have read some of these books, so you may possibly be interested in. He's written 9 books. It's the Adventurous series. It's based on his own real experiences, so beyond belief or anything like that. It's his real experiences with the real universal guides through the different levels of creation. And not many people are aware or know about this, so you'll definitely be one of the unique people that does if you decide to read the books. But, the really cool thing about what we're sharing with people as we learn about what's taking place in the world, like what you're telling us. I mean, there's something else that we're sharing here while we're discussing what's taking place here on this physical level, and actually the other levels as well, is the new you. So this is something that, you mentioned as well, people are asking you, how do you verify things? And you're saying, well, I know.
I'm sorry. I did look at your site, and I saw the NU was a major theme in your presentation and your marketing. That was all because I looked at it just because I just did a little background. So I saw the whole, but I did not delve into the whole theory and concept and how it got started and where this person's thoughts or spiritual awakening is awakening others. All of that. I haven't got into any of that.
Well, you'll have a lot of fun just discovering it. It's a lot, but it's endless. We are not going anywhere, any of us. So we all have a real being, and so we're just all becoming more aware. That's what we're all doing here. But the new you that you said that you saw. So this is something super, super simple that you and anyone can do. Okay, like right after the show, it's really simple. So it's a sound. It's like a vibration. Some people refer to it as a tuning fork, but it's a sound, it's a vibration, and you can sing it, and you will become more aware, especially with your dreams or real side experiences. So the best time to sing it is at night, and even when you wake up in the morning to help you recall those experiences. And you sing it however you like, but here's an example. New you. And you just repeat it until you fall asleep or you get tired of singing, and just be open to whatever it is that you're
I
saying.
like that. That sounds nice.
You can ask questions or have ideas, or you can just, be open. And you may meet the real universal guides, regardless of if you see them physically or not, and those dreams, real side experiences, they're there. And it's going to go according to you, your real awareness. So more so than your soul.
Do you put the book out on a PDF? Do you offer it out on a PDF for everybody?
It is in PDF. So Dwayne the Great Writer wrote these 9 PDFs, and they are on Facebook. He's created over 2,000 groups on Facebook. On our website, they are for a charge, because this is his life work. We're trying to survive here. This is all we do all the time, is try and let people like you speak and share the new you as well, so that people can become more aware. But they're on our website, or if you can find one of his groups, you can download 2 of the books. But books 2, 6, and 4, they're really big books. 3 is another one, if you could at least read those. But there are 9 in the series.
We can do a trade. It'd be great to do a trade. It'd be great to do a trade, since I've written a couple books too. I mean, they're on PDF, but I'd be happy to send you guys a copy of my book too. So why don't you send me a copy of yours, whatever it costs, I'll pay. But you can have my books, I'll send at my cost to you, just because we need to understand more about geoengineering and anything you can do to help promote that. And then the flat earth topic, of which you have the free PDF, you can have a copy from me, and I'll sign it if you want. Just we'll get the address after we finish here. But I have to get going. I've got dinner with my son I've got to go meet. So thank you all and yourselves for having me. I really appreciate being on your show.
Perfect timing. We have 4 seconds left. Have fun, everybody. Thanks so much.
Good.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jme.
Bye.